Greetings from Podcastville. It's Tuesday, the 13th of August. The podcast is brought to you by ForHims.com. Listen to me. ForHims is a one-stop shop for hair loss, skincare, and sexual wellness for men. Summertime is here. While you may be breaking out the baseball cap for a day at the beach or the ballpark, if you're wearing it to hide that thinning hair or that little bald spot, those days are over with. Don't sweat hair loss this summer. Do something now while you can. Go to ForHims.com. Listen, ForHims provides well-known generic equivalents to name brand prescriptions to help you keep your hair. No snake oil pills, no gas station counter supplements, prescription solutions backed by science. Now, the church family can get a trial month of ForHims. I saw them on TV last night. This is a real deal company. You understand me? For $5 for a trial offer today while supplies last. Go to the website for full details and safety information. Listen, this would cost you hundreds if you went to a doctor or a pharmacy. But Uncle Joey's making it easier for you by just going for forhims.com/Joey. That's ForHims, ForHims.com/Joey. That's it. It's nice and easy. ForHims.com/Joey. The church is also brought to you by the best motherfucking CBD oil out there, CBDLion.com. They make CBD products from start to finish. CBD Lion has you covered. Go to CBDLion.com right now and check out the third-party lab results. Let me explain something to you. I feel the fucking difference. You understand me? I feel it in me. The lotion, I rub it on my knees when I come out of the shower. I feel the fucking difference. Go to CBDLion.com right now. Press in church at checkout, and they're going to take care of you. They're going to give you 20% off, okay? Try the tincture. Try the 500 or 1,000 milligram tincture. You put that under your fucking tongue before you go to bed. You wake up with a heart on that feels like a bottle rocket. You understand me? Go to CBDLion.com right now. Lee, kick this motherfucking mule, baby boy. Are you nuts? Are you fucking nuts? Welcome to the Church of What's Happening Now. Uncle Joey here. It's a solo podcast the way you like it today. It'll be a fucking quick one. In, out, no fucking drama. Just letting you know what's on the mind. Had a great time in D.C. at the Lincoln Theater, in Atlantic City at the, I want to thank everybody who came out to the Lincoln Theater Friday night and to the Borgata in Atlantic City. As you saw, we're back, bitches. The set was good. The energy's good. We're on fucking fire. The comedy store, the plan is working. That's the most important thing. I had a plan when I got off that plane after I shot the Netflix special, and it's working. Just go to the store. Keep becoming a fucking savage. Keep that momentum up. I'm not going anywhere else to weaken me. Nothing. Just straight up fucking comedy store following Sebastian, Ron White, Dalia, Rogan, all those fucking animals. And guess what? If you keep fucking sharp, you sharpen metal with motherfucking metal. But anyway, now that we got that over with, I had a great weekend. I'm happy you guys came out. We're getting ready for a new fucking week. I want to talk to you about a few things. Last episode, we spoke a little bit about respect. Respect for others, respect for yourself, and all that bullshit. But there's a part of this that Saturday night in Atlantic City when I got off stage, a bunch of my friends were there who I hadn't seen, from Machardi to Ralph Afuso to Little McNeil. I mean, I saw a lot of fucking cats, and thank you very much for always supporting me, North Bergen, with all my heart. Thank you. Union City, West New York, Hudson County's always got my motherfucking back since day one. But when I was talking to one of the guys, he said to me, it's so funny that you came out here and that you're hanging, that you're talking. It's fucking dynamite. And I'm like, why would it be, why wouldn't I come out and talk to you guys? You guys were the ones that kept me together. Like I've told you 1,000 times, God took my family, but he showed me the gift of friendship. And he showed it to me through these guys, And whatever, they knew me at my lowest fucking point. They knew me when I was robbing and stealing and fucking cheating and fucking snorting, and I would sell my soul, and I did. I ended up fucking doing time for it, but they knew me at my lowest point. You guys met me in between, and you guys have checked me and kept me fucking honest the last 7 or 8 years since we've been doing a podcast, because I got to walk the walk. You know, I just can't fucking talk the talk. So it's so weird because at first I didn't think about it. I go, why would it be weird? He goes, well, you got the movies. And I go, listen, man, this is what keeps me honest, is that I keep in touch with those guys. Anytime I've gone off the reservation is because I wasn't keeping in touch. I only went off the reservation one time in this town, and that's after I shot The Longest Yard, and it was set induced. Like, it was the people on the set telling me what was going to happen once this movie came out, so it set expectations for me, and I started acting a little bit fucking weird. But going back to Jersey and walking those streets reminded me, you know, sometimes you listen to the podcast, I know a lot of you complain, oh, well, Joey, you talk about the past and the stories. When I wake up in the morning, when I'm peeing and I'm fucking cheering myself on for the day, as I'm walking, there's a bit of that walk that I think about, you know, being in prison, or I think about sleeping in that rocket ship, or I think about fucking sleeping in a bus, you know, headed to a gig in Buffalo or something like that. I think about my lowest points, so I'm kept in check. Ego is something that I've always fucking hated. I've always hated people with egos, and I've always watched them, and I've seen their destruction little by little, because ego will fuck you up, whether you're a fucking plumber, a car salesman, a comic, a musician. I mean, how many great bands have been broken up by egos? I'll tell you 3 of them. The Eagles was an ego game, not as much as the Police and Pink Floyd. I love Roger Waters. I'm not saying nothing bad about Roger Waters, but his fucking ego. Read his interviews, you know, listen to his, you know, his ego, was like the creation of the wall. He was saying, you know what, I don't mind doing shows, I just don't like the fucking fans. If I could build a wall between me and the fans, who would say something like that? Who would say something like that? The fans keep your fucking lights on. But his ego was so strong, it clashed with Gilmore and is done. Another great band that's done because of ego. The Police. Fucking that singer has the biggest fucking ego. I just watched him 2 years ago one night on one of those late night shows, and he whipped out a fucking harmonica. And he's like, I'm doing a album and a tour on harmonica. You know why? Because he was sitting around drinking wine with a bunch of his jerk-off friends, and instead of somebody saying, do me a favor, put the fucking harmonica away, they fucking told him that it was great and what a great idea. So now for fucking a summer, this moron went out and played the fucking harmonica on tour. But if you watch his interviews, the whole thing, his ego is fucking huge.
How do you, and maybe just learning how to, but how do you balance? Because to be an entertainer, you have to have some ego, don't you? It seems like you have to have a little bit of both.
Depends where the ego comes from.
Okay.
Like I said earlier, for a guy like me, I remind myself every day of who the fuck I was, and that keeps me in check. When I shot The Longest Yard, I was a little fucked up, but it's not like I was throwing water at people or fucking telling people to fetch me a water. It was an ego of expectations, like I had something coming to me. There's different types of ego. There's, you know, what some people call white privilege. That's a type of ego, you know. There's different fucking egos, and you see them in people. You know, again, nothing racist. A great person once told me that never give a Spanish person or a black person a manager's job at Burger King. And I thought it was like a joke, and I thought about it, because their egos go out of fucking control. They can't control their ego. You know, your ego will make you buy a fucking house like Michael Jackson. Your ego, you know, it's not that Michael Jackson went on an interview and said he was the greatest of all time. People like Kanye West do that, and it affects people. People get pissed off, you know, all that type of shit. You never heard Biggie Small say it, or, you know. But for some people, they don't have to say it. It's the way they walk. It's the way they talk. I cannot tell you, between bands, like music bands, no, these are just Richie Blackmore had a bad ego with Deep Purple, and then he carried that bad ego into fucking Rainbow with Dio and fucking all the bands he had with singers. He had an amazing fucking, an ego. I'm not staying in the same hotel as the other guys. That shit is fucking ego. Now, ego is very helpful. And if you back it, there's nothing wrong with it. And you know what? You will back it for a long time. But after that, it becomes something else. In, I don't know what year, the football playoffs, Hollywood Henderson was going to play he was playing for the Dallas Cowboys, and they were going to play in the Denver Broncos. And the Denver Broncos was known for their defense. And before the game, the Denver Broncos were like either sponsored or the stadium was sponsored by Orange Crush or some shit, and that's what they called the defense. And they showed Hollywood Henderson in an interview drinking an Orange Crush, and when he finished it, he squished the can. Okay? And that Sunday in the Super Bowl, he intercepted a ball and he scored a touchdown. His ego, he told you he was going to fucking be a bad motherfucker. And he was a bad motherfucker. His ego came through. I have nothing wrong with that, but what happened to him later on? His ego, mixed with the cocaine, got him thrown out of the fucking NFL. So somewhere along the line, that ego is going to fuck you. Ego is good for some things. Listen, before I go on stage, I'm thinking I'm going to bomb, and then when there's 1 minute as they're calling my name, when I'm falling apart inside, what do you think drives me to that fucking stage? You know what? Fuck you, you pussy motherfucker. Go up there. You've done this 1,000 times. Stop being a little fucking pussy. Stop being a little cunt. Get on that stage and kill these motherfuckers. That is ego. But it's ego because I put 28 years into it. So the ego is backed. It's like fucking ForHims. It's backed by science. It's the same fucking deal with that. Ego as an artist, do you know how many fucking comedians I've seen lose their mind because of ego? And you see it start to creep up. And hopefully they do a film, something outside their genre that is ego-driven. And have you ever seen when a comic has negative press in the news about a show or like a movie performance? That checks their ego. That checks your ego. When I'm not talking bad about it at all. Not saying nothing negative here. But I'm sure that Tiffany Haddish didn't feel good after what happened New Year's Eve in Miami. I'm sure. I know Tiffany Haddish on a personal level. I'm sure. But in the back of her mind, how when you have a busy movie career and you don't have time to go to the store or to go out at night, and when you do, you're fucking too tired because you've been on 6 days of shooting 14-hour days. She took the gig because she said, I've done this 1,000 times. Went down there. You guys were expecting John Mulaney. And she showed up talking, and right away Miami started booing her, whatever. I wasn't there. All I'm telling you is what I saw. That's an ego-driven move, but that's an ego-driven move by somebody not saying, fuck these bitches. I know Tiffany Haddish on a personal level. It was just that Tiffany Haddish didn't have time to work out. I was here. I see Tiffany Haddish going out constantly. Lately, she hasn't been out. She's probably shooting fucking 3 movies. But at the same time, ego and patting yourself on the back, there's nothing wrong with it. There's a level of comics, right? That there's a level of that I saw this a lot. I had a dear friend here for years. I loved him with all my heart. Great comic, fucking superb writer. He wasn't overly exciting on stage, but he was a phenomenal writer. He knew how to write. I mean, the guy sold scripts. The guy sold a TV show. He was a phenomenal writer. There's no reason why that guy shouldn't be here today. But you want me to tell you how his ego was fanned? Let me tell you how his ego got flamed. He would open up for 2 people in particular. and they were huge acts. And part of his deal was that he would write for them, help them write their act, if he could feature for them and they paid him a little extra. He cut himself a nice little deal, and he would watch the headliner and write jokes for the headliner and insert tags and lines and different things to help the headliner out. But after the show, he would be standing there, the headliner would be selling T-shirts, and he'd be standing there like a Morto Vaughn, which I did for years, and when I opened for Joe Rogan. And you see people go up to Rogan, shake his hand, tell him how much they loved him, he was great, and then they'll walk over to me, and they would go, "Hey, man, you did a great job." And then they would come over and whisper in my ear, "You are a lot funnier than him. Keep it up." And now, as a young comic, you could take that two ways. You could understand what just happened. This is a guy that was a fan of Rogan's, and he wanted to talk to Rogan, so he blew smoke up his ass. And now to either make me feel right, make me feel, okay about myself or whatever, he comes over and blows some smoke in my ass. Now, I could have gone home that night, called my wife and said, "Hey, you're not going to believe this. I fucking was up on stage with Rogan tonight, and 20 people fucking told me," well, let's say 3 people came up to me and said that. I'd exaggerate and said 40 people came up to me and told me I was better than Rogan all 5 fucking shows. Fuck this. I'm not opening for him no more. I'm going to go do my own fucking thing. Do you understand? I didn't do that because I knew they were blowing smoke up his ass. I watched it. The same reason why I did not like the Carlos Mencia feud with Rogan. I saw how club owners were acting. When Rogan came to town, they talked bad about Carlos, and when Carlos came to town, they talk bad about Rogan. It's a business. What the fuck do you expect? When you get to that town, you're the best fucking thing on sliced bread because you're making that club owner money. But once you leave, he's got to play that same fucking game with the comic that's coming in. And listen, you know this going in. So don't ever feel bad, whatever you do, whether you're playing professional sports, whether you're an artist, whether you're a fucking comic, whether you're an actor. Don't ever feel bad when you realize that you're just a fucking meat bag with eyes.
Something that I've noticed with you, and tell me if I'm wrong, is you definitely take stand-up seriously. But to me, I think the difference between you and some people is you treat it like it's a job still. And some people are like, "Oh, I'm an artist. I deserve this." Or like to you, it's still like, this is just what I do for a living. And it's a little bit more black and white. It seems like, so you don't leave the room for you to get a little, to let the ego come in. Because it's just a job.
Well, when you realize that when you go to the Comedy Store and you look at the picture you look at the walls, and you see the comics that have been there before you, you're going to find 3 or 4 comics that you either resemble body-wise, shape-wise, the way your material is, whatever. And then you realize that you're just replacing a void. Okay, you're just replacing a void. I'm not ashamed to say this. Okay? One of the funniest guys I ever saw on stage was Patrice O'Neal. Serious, straight up gangster, good guy on and off stage, would make you laugh off stage like he did on stage, was totally free. There's a special he did, The Elephant in the Room or something like that.
White Elephant, I guess.
It's one of the best fucking specials I've ever seen in my life, okay? Let's be honest. And God rest his soul, and God rest Ralphie's soul. Most of the people that are coming to see me today are coming to see me because there's no Patrice and there's no Ralphie.
That's what you think? Really?
The people were all in that same category. They still have to fill the void. I fill that void right now. In 2 years, it'll be somebody else filling the void. But I know this going in. When I got to the store, I would look at Noe Gonzalez and see Angel Salazar. When I'd see Ralphie May, You ever go to the back of the Comedy Store? There's a picture of a big fat guy getting out of a car. He weighs about 500 pounds.
I have to look for it.
I forget what his name is. I'll point it out to you. Go in tonight to the kitchen and look at the back. There's a guy with a cowboy hat getting out of a car. He's 500 pounds. Ralphie replaced him. Wow. You know, when John Panette was on the downslope, who was hot? Ralphie. So everything, we're just replacing a void. Once you know all these things going in, why do you think I talk about knowing things going in? Knowing what your value is going in, knowing who the fuck you are when you go in, knowing where you stand. Keep your fucking mouth shut. All these things are part of it. Knowing who the fuck you are. Knowing what you stand for. Listen, I heard an expression when I was 13 years old, and I still use it today, and I use it on myself. We all put our pants on one leg at a time. You know, that's why to me, when I saw Richard Gere as a kid, I didn't go up to him and get an autograph or get a fucking picture. That's why all those things. Because at the end of the fucking day, whether it's Roberto Clemente, it's Hollywood Henderson, it's Lee Iacocca, it's Ross Perot, all the guys I look up to. At the end of the day, all put their pants on one leg at a time. What the fuck are you doing? Jumping up and down for, I'm going to see this movie and I'm camping out 24 hours before. Are you fucking retarded? You see them camping out for you fucking jerk off? The fuck is wrong with you? We all put our pants on one leg at a time. You ever go into a job and the boss, he's the boss. Shh, you can't say this around. You know what? One day you look at him and go, fuck him. Fuck this douchebag. He puts his pants on one leg at a time, just like I do. Once you get all these basic fucking philosophies in your head, the ego cannot take over. Your ego at no part will take over because respect is part of it. You know, when do you start disrespecting people? When you think you're better than they are. When you think they're better than they are. Yeah. Listen, I disrespect 1,000 fucking people when I'm talking to them. Last week, I had to yell at Kate about something, but the result was she sold out all 4 shows in D.C.
Oh, wow.
You know, that was the result. Me getting on her and going, tweet those fucking dates out instead of bikini pictures. You know, I felt bad about it, but I bet she feels fucking really good right now. You know, these are my friends. I got to look out for them. You know, sometimes as friends, we don't look out for our other friends. You got to call and go, hey. Like last week, you called me with a little bit of a fucking dilemma about stand-up. That some guy was calling you, asking you creepy questions. Yeah. And what I tell you, call him back and tell him to go fuck himself. If he wants to fucking hire you, this is the deal. If not, you're not making the 10-hour drive anyway. You ain't got time. You ain't got fucking time.
Right.
Why? Because you just don't have the time. There's 1,000 open mics down here. You're not looking to make money right now. Not at all. If you're looking to make money, quit right now because there's no money in your future. You're going to pick up a 20 here or 40 here. I'll throw you something when you open for me. But besides that, there ain't no money in this game right now. So all these things, as long as you know going in, you know, when you walk into that job, you walk into a job, like let's say you're a roofer or something, you walk in, they're like, hey, look who it is. You know, blah, 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 and they blow smoke up your ass, and they tell you how great they feel. Then on the way out, they say, yo, don't forget, you got to work Saturday. You know, I got to go to a wedding, though, with my family, but you have to work on fucking Saturday.
Right.
You know, they blew smoke up your ass to get you to work on Saturday. You know better than nobody else. We're no better than nobody else. There's 300 fucking comics out there that are better than me. Seriously. Fundamentally, stand-up, I mean, punchline, setup, fucking structure. There's 1,000 comics better than me. There's 1,000 comics, and I know that going in. I try to be myself more on stage, which helps me a lot more. But all these little things that will prevent you from getting ego. One time, and we never talked about it on the podcast, but I'll tell you right now, I think in the 20-year friendship I had with Ralphie, I had one misunderstanding with him. We didn't talk for about 3 months. He was supposed to pick me up. He called me like 10 fucking times, made me stop what I was doing that day. I was doing something, and he called. And he told me he was picking me up at a certain time, And I didn't hear from him for 6 hours. And when he called me, I didn't say nothing on the phone, but when I got in the car, God rest his soul, I looked at him, and I straight up looked at him, and I go, hey, do you think your time is more valuable than mine? And he looked me in the face, and he said yes to me. And I don't remember what I said to him, but it wasn't too fucking pleasant. I said it to him in a friendly way. In a friendly way, I said this to him, whatever about time. And we did what we had to do, but when we left, I knew that he didn't like it. But I didn't really give a fuck because I was his brother. And it was time that somebody told him. Nobody had the balls to tell him what I told him in that car that day. He didn't call for about 2-3 months. He bumped into my friend George in Jersey. George told him how I was, and it was forgotten about, and Ralphie was never late again. Because he came to understand that, hey, this guy's got a point here. He's right. I don't give a fuck if you're late. Just pick up the goddamn phone and go, listen, at 3:30, call me and go, hey, I'm stuck around the corner. I'll be there at 3:34. That I could take that. Hey, I won't be there for an hour. I won't be there for 2 hours. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is that sometimes, and that's what happened to people like Roger Waters. That's what happens to people like Sting. Nobody in that camp has the balls to come up to you and tell you that you're slipping. That's the biggest issue you have out here. That everybody's walking on fucking eggshells and they let you. I've seen fucking comics, bro, get a couple things that success could be in their path, and they fuck it up at the end with ego. Just destroy it with ego. And then guess what happens? They disappear. You never hear from them again. They end up in some fucking city or doing local comedy. Ego is a fucking, you gotta check it. This is why it was really shocking when the guy told me that the other day at the show. I never, listen, every day I remember who the fuck I am and where I came from, and I robbed Michael's Jewelers, and I think about sleeping on that metal fucking bed and diagnostic for 2 fucking weeks. And that's what keeps me. You know how many people ask me, why don't you travel with a road manager? Why don't you have security? Why don't you have, why don't you have a publicist? Why don't you have people around you when you travel? Like fucking, what do they call that? Entourage?
Yeah.
Are you fucking retarded? Are you fucking retarded? I need an entourage. I need my stylist to travel with me. I need my trainer to travel with me. Is that what you fucking think? The other day, me and Matt Fultron got on the train. You know how many people came up to me on the train and said, what are you doing on the fucking train? What, I can't take a train?
Right.
I can't take an Amtrak? What are you? I need to be in a fucking helicopter? I'm a celebrity? I'm just an R-rated fucking comic who 30 years ago this week got sentenced to fucking prison. That's who the fuck I am. Sure, this is a job. This is a job that I put 28 years into, and right now I'm reaping the rewards from. I worked for every minute that I do on fucking stage. I worked hard towards it. What would ruin this right now? Drugs and ego, or both of them together. Ego would ruin this right now. Lee has a way of saying things sometimes. Like, one of the biggest things I ever heard from Lee was that the only guy that's ever worked out with me is you, and you're an ex-convict who went to prison for kidnapping. Lee does all this business with all these high-level people, and they stop calling you and they fall apart at the fucking seams. This is a job for me. This is a job. And when it became a job for me is when I became successful. When I started becoming successful. For the first 6 or 7 years of comedy, this was not a job for me. I was just learning my ropes around. The same way half of you guys started out as laborers, picking garbage up and fetching coffee and fucking, we don't have to fetch coffee or pick garbage up. But like I was telling Lee, getting booed is the same fucking feeling. After, can you imagine being somewhere for 2 years and still getting coffee and a lunch order? You start feeling bad about yourself. But what keeps you fucking going is that you're working. You're working towards a goal. You go, you know what? Who gives a fuck if he called me a fat fuck? I'm working. Every day I'm fucking working. And I'm getting better at this. And someday I'm going to be able to break away from him and do this on my own. And that's when I'll get my last laugh and my last result. That's the whole bottom line to this thing. But to go back to ego, man, I don't believe in it. I don't. And in this town, I see it starting. In comedy, you know, these guys go to Montreal, they get a fucking deal, and I'm supposed to fucking come up to you and kiss your ring. Meanwhile, I'm battling out at the store every fucking night, 6 nights a week, following Paul Mooney. You know what? Suck my dick. You know, so again, they would try to make me feel bad by not inviting me to Montreal 15, 20 years ago. But at the same time, who needed Montreal? I was following fucking Paul Mooney. And every night I was bombing. Oh, yeah, I was bombing. And my ego was getting fucking kicked in the stomach. But I kept showing up every night. And that's part of ego, you know? I don't need to go down there. I don't need to do this anymore. I'm this good. No. Lee, what do I tell you? You got to do the same steps every day. Every day. Every fucking day. And I do them, as boring as it is. Today already, I fucking wrote for an hour. I went lifted. I went to cryotherapy. I sent emails. I got my spots at the store. Why? Because I have a list. I got it all written down. I have a plan for the fucking day. So all these things, guess when I'll start to fail? When I say, oh, you know what? I don't need to write anymore. I don't need to fucking lift weights anymore. I could skip out on this. No. What do I tell you? It's the same shit every fucking day. And guess what? The same amount of work you put in your 4th year of being a carpenter, guess what, bitch? You're going to put that same amount of work or even more when you're 20 years into it. And now you own your own fucking business. What do you think? It's a 20-hour week? Oh, yeah, this is 20. No. That 40-hour week, when you play games and play for keeps, it becomes an 80-hour week. But it doesn't matter because you're doing something you love and you're doing it for yourself. And everything you do is geared towards that same fucking goal. You know what, guys? I'm 56 years old. I got a wife. I got a kid. I don't need to fucking Weight Watcher it no more. I don't need to really go to the fucking gym no more. But for me to give you guys a great show, I know I need to do all these things. I need to do all these things. This is all part of a job. This is a fucking job. And part of that job is keeping me together. Because once your mind goes, that's when everything else fucking goes. So if it's going to box or going, you know what, man? I just finished 2 shows this weekend. I had great fucking shows. Between you and I, guys, I was going to do Sam Tripoli's show tomorrow night and then take time off this week and next week. That was my plan, to just stay home and focus on writing this book and focus on writing this one-man show and some more material and giving stand-up a break. Guess what? I can't. You know why? Because I went to Jersey August fucking 10th, and I'm going to be back in Jersey October 25th or some shit. And that gives me 2 months to come up with another fucking half hour. Because half the fucking people that came and saw me in fucking August are going to come in fucking October. So, if I had an ego and I didn't respect you motherfuckers, I would go, who gives a fuck what I say? I'm going to show up there in October and fucking do the same material. But I can't. I can't because I understand that you have to get a babysitter. I understand that you're excited to see me. I understand. What if you come to see me in October and I have the exact 45 fucking minutes? You're going to say, yeah, he was funny, but I heard 3/4 of this shit already. So I can't take a break off. That was my plan until I got to Atlantic City, and half the people in Atlantic City were telling me, hey, we got tickets to come see you in October or in December in New York. Oh, shit. So that week I had planned off to fucking relax with my family. Niente per te. That means suck my dick in Italian. That means nothing for you. I got to work it out now. So I got to hit the fucking books. So you people, if I had the ego, I wouldn't give a fuck. Let them fucking spend the $30. And if they don't like it, let them go fuck themselves if they like it. I can't do that to you guys because I understand the work. I understand what you're putting into sacrifice. I got to go to a movie tonight. I'm gonna meet Rick Ramos. That's why I was looking at the hit of acid, because fucking 7 o'clock they're showing Apocalypse Now at the Cinerama Dome.
Oh damn!
And then you do a fucking live interview with Lawrence Fishburne and Francis Ford Coppola. Fuck yeah! Fuck yeah! So I'm meeting Rick Ramos down there at 7 o'clock. I don't know how I'm gonna. And listen, the first time I saw Apocalypse Now, I took a fucking hit of that double barrel Sunshine Acid. It was a Friday night, midnight, late movie, because Apocalypse Now was so popular when it came out that they had to add viewings. This was early on. You know, back when movies were coming out, it was like the movie started at 11:30 in the morning, and then there was another viewing at 2, 4, 7, 9, and then maybe 10:30 or something, whatever the fuck. But for all those movies, they started doing midnight movies. So me and my buddies took fucking double barrel Sunshine, and we went up to the Fairview fucking cinema in the old days. And there was a line, maybe, I don't know how many fucking people are going to see, because the Fairview Cinema had 2 fucking movie theaters, and there were 2 lines forming to go to each movie theater. But there was a Carvel up the corner from fucking, not even up the corner, in the same strip mall, 50 yards. So when I was standing online, I'm tripping on the ass. I'm starting to trip and shit like that. And I see an ice cream cone. Somebody bought an ice cream cone, and right before they went into the movie theater, they threw it on the sidewalk, and there was ants starting to grow around it, and it started melting. And there was like 4 of us there. It was like me, Kurt DiLorenzo, Louis Castellito, and this kid, John Crowley. And John Crowley was missing a wrench nut somewhere. And he was tripping on acid. Whenever he was tripping on acid, I could talk him into anything. And I go, John, I'm not waiting on that fucking line. But the only way we're going to cut through is if you fucking throw an obstacle at these guys. I dare you to eat that ice cream cone. And he walked over with his hit of acid, picked up the ice cream cone with the ants on it, and started licking in front of the line. And people started going, ew, ew, ew. I grabbed them and made believe like I was controlling them. And I stood right there, and they opened up the doors, and we walked in first. That's how you do it, cocksucker. That's why you always got to have a crazy friend.
Oh, my God.
That eats weird kind of bugs and shit like that. And it didn't end there. When we got in, we were tripping our balls off. It didn't end there. When we got in there, we were tripping our balls off so fucking hard that before the movie started, we talked him into going to the front of the movie theater and talking to people. So he got up there and he's like, can I have your attention, please? And people like, shut the fuck up. Get the fuck out of the way. And some guy's like, let him talk. He's the guy that ate the ice cream cone out there.
Can you sit through a 3-hour movie on acid?
We did.
Oh, shit.
Because it's such a dark fucking movie, and there's fireworks and lights.
I would have run out of there.
Oh my God! And tonight I'm thinking of eating this fucking hit ass.
Just the opening with the ceiling fan and the helicopter. That would get me.
I'm thinking about fucking making a reservation at Danny Tanner's, going down there at 5, eating, and then right from there, to avoid the traffic, shoot over and watch the first 2 hours of Apocalypse Now. Roll like 3 joints. And then wait to that part where they go to French and they're talking to the French people. I hate that whole dinner party. So I'll go outside and smoke a joint or 2. Then I'll go in, catch the end, and do the fucking Q&A with Lawrence Fishburne and my man fucking Francis Ford Coppola. Who's better than Uncle Joey? Nobody, cocksucker. I got to do this. Listen, guys, I'm a movie buff.
I'm surprised. I don't know the last time I saw you do a movie without your wife.
I saw an ad. I don't think my wife wants to go.
No, I'm saying you do movie night, like date night, like once a week, but that's it. No.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to see the Hollywood thing because they disrespect Bruce Lee. So I've heard it too many times. You can't disrespect Bruce Lee. So I'm not going to see. I'm boycotting fucking Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Okay. I've done it all the time, so I don't give a fuck. I'm not a big Tarantino guy anyway.
I'm just saying it's cool that you're actually going to see a movie.
Oh, yeah. No. I like movies. I'm a movie buff. This is what I do. This is what I did all my fucking life. I smoked pot and I watched movies and I studied and I got inspired, and this movie really inspired. And I want to talk to Lawrence Fishburne. I met him that one time with Ralphie, and he was very, very sweet, and I want to go down there and maybe talk to him about coming on the podcast or something.
That'd be crazy.
His daughter trains around the corner where my daughter trains.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I've never seen him down there, but I know she She's told me, and I saw pictures of him there. So in my world, he's one of the greatest black actors of all time. I mean, especially now. I think, and I'm a big Denzel fan, but when you really, really do the math, there's nobody better as an African American than from fucking, What's Love Got to Do with It, to that movie with Christopher Walken, to fucking the ones with Keanu Reeves now, with John Wick, CSI, the movie with Sean Penn when he played opposite Kevin Bacon. I mean, the guy is just fucking sensational. That's what inspires the fuck out of me, is going to see a guy like that. And when I spoke to him and met him, that's what I was really impressed by, that there was no ego. He saw me and Ralphie standing on a corner waiting to go into a weed store. And I had just had a special come out on Showtime. I forget what it was called, with George Perez and Marilyn, the Payaso Comedy Slam. I had just done it, and it was on Showtime, and I was praying that nobody watched it. And he pulled over. We were in front of the weed store by the Formosa Cafe. And he pulled over, and we were just standing, and he came out of the car and walked up to us. Fucking Lawrence Fishburne just walked up to us, and he goes, "What are you guys doing standing here?" And we told him we were about to go into the weed store. Did he want to wait and smoke with us? He said no. And he said that he had saw me on the Payaso Slam, and he had saw Ralphie in Last Comic Stand. And he just pulled over on Santa Monica Boulevard.
Shit.
Right by the Formosa Cafe, right across the street. There's still a weed store there. That's the first place that threw me out, because I told him I wanted to give me what you got here to see the devil. And the girl's like, "We don't talk like that here." And the manager came up to me, he's like, "You can't talk like that here. You got to leave."
Was it the Christian one?
No, this is the one. This was in Formosa, across the street from the fucking Formosa Cafe, right there. It's all different now, but I went past it the other day, and it's still there. It's not as popular as it used to be. I didn't like it because you had to wait outside.
Yeah, it's weird.
They would come up. There would be a security guard outside, and you gave him your wallet, your license, and he would have to go in and check and then come back out. So you had to wait online like a little bit outside in the street. But that night I was happy I was waiting outside, because Lawrence Fishburne came out and started talking to us. And we spoke for about 45 fucking minutes. We didn't even end up going and buying the weed.
What?
We were just, in heaven that Lawrence Fishburne was talking to us. So we just talked to him about comedy and acting. He referred me to an acting teacher, which me and Silent Bob, Rodrigo Torres, we signed up. And Rick Ramos.
All of you together?
Because it was Lawrence Fishburne's buddy. It was where Lawrence Fishburne worked at. So we all gave it a shot for about 6 months, but then we all went our different ways. Mine moved up here. Rick Ramos, did something else. But
I wonder if he remembers you. That'd be crazy if he remembers that. Lawrence.
He's going to remember. He'll remember.
That's wild.
Because we had a great conversation. We spoke about him being 16 years old and shooting Apocalypse Now, and how he had to get his mother to go down to the Philippines with him because he was only 16 when he shot it. Just an interesting story. Just an interesting fucking guy. So I figured, what the fuck? I'll go down there tonight, maybe eat half a sheet of this acid.
Fuck yeah.
And watch, because I love that whole thing. It's got one of the lines in that movie is one of the lines that keeps me fucking going. While I'm sitting here on this fucking couch getting weaker, Charlie is in the bush getting stronger. That is a classic fucking line. That's why, and for years, every time I caught myself on a street corner talking shit, I would go, "What the fuck? I gotta go case a joint out. I gotta go rob somebody. I'm over here." While fucking, I'm sitting here wasting my time. Charlie's in the bush getting stronger. Those words are fucking just amazing.
That describes your entire personality.
Hey, I'm in the bush getting fucking stronger. That's all that matters to me. That's the most important thing of this fucking whole thing.
And then really quick, I wanted to give a shout out to Rodrigo. His wife just had a baby.
Oh, congratulations to my man Rodrigo. I will call him right after this. I have not spoken to him in a few weeks, and I did not know about his child. Right, for a lot of people who don't know, Rodrigo is Felipe's sidekick on What's Happening Fool, the podcast. And look at the people that I bring into my life. Felipe does not have an ego. After I had the words with Ralphie, his ego disappeared. Tom Segura does not have an ego. Crystalia does not have an ego. If you talk to Sebastian, there's really no ego involved. I mean, Sebastian don't say much as it is. He's on Fighter. He's on, I think, Fighter and the Kid today, or he's doing Theo's podcast today. But, you know, these guys don't have an ego. You know, Ron White, are you kidding me? There's no ego there. Ron knows, we all know, listen, when you realize how lucky you are for being in this position, your ego should disappear. Your ego should disappear. You know, I love doing movies, but one of the things that turned me off about movies was the ego of a lot of actors. It really fucking is a turnoff. You see it. They come in late. You know, instead of eating what's for lunch, they got to send out because they don't like the food. You know, and it's not an ego thing. They go out of their way to be different, to let you know that they're better than you are at some level. And I've never liked that fucking mentality. That's the celebrity mentality. You know, how do they sell you? Oh, do what the celebrities are doing. What's the chick? The chick on fucking My 500 Pound, not My 500. What was the fat loss show on NBC? Jillian Michaels.
Yeah.
You know,
Biggest Loser.
Yeah, train how the celebrities train. That's what they sell you on. That's what they sell you on. Why? Because the celebrities will do things differently just to make you feel ordinary. Well, no, we don't do ordinary weights. We do underwater weights with a guru who makes you lift with fucking shorts on. You know, there's always something with those motherfuckers. And at the end of the week, they're not doing nothing. They're just going out of their way to let you think that they're better than you are. Don't ever feel that way. Because I used to always, feel insecure about it. For years, I felt insecure about people who liked egos. I didn't like how it made me feel. And once I figured out, I cut those fucking people out. I could tell you 20 comics that have huge fucking egos. I talk to them, but I avoid them like the plague, and I just watch them. They're like my side project. How long till the fucking Leaning Tower of Pisa goes down? It's a leaning tower because your head ain't right. Whenever your head ain't right, you're fucking leaning to a side. I know I am. Whenever my head's not right, it affects everything that I do around me. If you're fucking up somewhere, it affects everything you do around you. And the man who told me that was Joe Rogan when I was doing Blow. He's like, when you do Blow, it affects everything you do around you. So all those negative personality traits, like not having respect, is what you have when you get a fucking ego. You know, what prompted me for that respect podcast was something that had happened a few nights earlier at a comedy club, that somebody got up and ran a light. The same reason why you run a light is to prove that you're better than somebody else. I can run the light. I have fucking ego. That's why you run a light. There's people who run a light by mistake all the time. I know they're running a light by mistake. But there's people that to prove a point to you that they're better than you are, they'll run the light as a comic. That's why I say it's a bad, because that's the vibe it sends out. It doesn't, oh, he ran the light. It's just 3 fucking words. But you're telling me, A, you don't give a fuck, and B, that you're better than I am. And who tells you that? Your fucking ego feeds you that bullshit. So just remember in life, no matter how good or successful you get at something, you're just a fucking meat bag with eyes. There's a guy behind you waiting to grab your success when you fucking force yourself down with your stupid fucking characteristic of fucking ego.
Do you think it's like, so like, let's say someone's listening to this and they're like, fuck, I have too much ego. Have you seen people switch it around? Is there a way, like when you were on the
What knocks out ego? What quiets down ego?
I don't know.
Getting your ass kicked. Life kicks the shit out of you. You know, we were talking about that I did Caroline's one year. I did the New York Comedy Festival, and the guy didn't like me. So he told me he was going to book me at a certain time, and when I got there, they told me there was a band going up in front of me. You know what I'm saying? There was a band going up in front of me. When I got off and I ate a bag of dicks, I realized why I ate a bag of dicks, blah, 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 blah. It hurt me, like it hurt me, whatever, but it didn't bruise my ego. Like it didn't hurt my ego. What was the question again?
How do you turn it around? How do you go from having too much ego to like
you get your ass kicked. You get your hand leveled to you.
But like, let's say
it's like that guy that when you walks off stage and looks at you as a comic and goes, "Follow this, bitch." You could turn around and smack that bitch, or you could go up there and outdo the motherfucker, and then not say a word to him.
Right.
That'll bother him more than you say something. Ego goes away when you get your ass kicked. If you're a normal person, the ego goes in check.
Is there a way to get your ass because getting your ass kicked sometimes happens when you're not expecting it. What if someone's trying to change?
Getting your ass kicked could be a girl cheating on you, to eating a bag of dicks on stage, to getting fired from your job. You get egotistical at your job. I made that decision because I thought it was the right one. Well, you lost $60,000 for the company, so you're gone.
Right.
There's no mistakes in that corporate environment, that corporate world. So ego causes you to make a mistake. That mistake levels you. And the next thing you know, here we are. You got nowhere to go. I was watching something the other day on an interview on MMA Junkie, who I really read all their interviews. And it had to do with Khabib fighting McGregor. McGregor saying he wants him or something, and he told him, he goes, "Hey man, not for nothing, you lost your last 2 or 3 fights. Right. Why you have no room to speak." He wasn't being, and I looked at that and I'm like, he's not being a bad person. One, he's saying the truth, and 2, he's like, I'm not gonna fight you. You could fight the winner of Dustin and me. You lost your last 2 fights. I beat you, I choked you out decisively. That must have controlled. If you watch the McGregor fights when he lost, he sat on the mat for a minute, and you think about it, especially the Khabib one. He sat on the mat for a few minutes and thought about where he went wrong, the training. And I'm not putting down McGregor or nothing like this. I'm just saying that sometimes that ego. Right now, McGregor hasn't fought in how long?
Close to a year, probably.
Okay. You know what happened? It's like you not getting on stage for a year. It's like you doing 3 big fucking Academy Award winner movies, but you don't get on stage for a year. Eric Roach is going to pass you by. Christy Bellich is going to pass you by. The chick with the ass that travels all the time is going to pass you by. These people are going to pass you by. And now, ego makes you do all those bad decisions. Ego makes you say all those things. And at the end, what did you make? What did you get? What did you gain? The UFC is still going. They're still doing their fights, and they're adjusting without Conor, and they're waiting for him to come back. And he's going to be a year, 16 months behind, not getting in the fucking ring. Last 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, there was a big article, and people were furious. I mean, I read 1,000 different reviews on Eddie Murphy. Netflix thinks he's worth $70 million. I love Eddie Murphy. I wouldn't be sitting in this chair if it wasn't for Eddie Murphy. Delirious is a great fucking special. Raw is a great fucking special. But people are wondering how much. Now, Eddie Murphy has not agreed to it yet. I love Eddie because of that. Now, if you watch Eddie in Getting Coffee with Seinfeld, they discuss that. Mm-hmm. Listen to what he's saying. That he hates going on stage without not saying something. This is a guy that has made 20 great movies, that has been around since 1983. What's that? 93, 2003. This is a guy that's got a 37-year career as a fucking comic and as a comedic actor. Any other person who would get a $70 million offer already would have signed up, and fucking the date would have been set, the dates would have been released. But what did he say on that thing with Seinfeld? He goes, to fucking get on stage, you got to work out.
I watched part of it. I
And
must
he
have missed
goes, I
that
got
part.
nothing to say.
He really said that? Wow.
Yeah, he
Good
goes,
for him.
I really can't get on stage without having something to say. It made me respect Eddie Murphy more than I've ever respected him. Because any other asshole, you know what? And I've heard it before. Agents go, hey, take the $70 million. You could talk shit for an hour.
Right, yeah. That's a level of non-ego, because, I mean, what would you do if they offered you $7 million? Like, that's like...
$7 million, I'd agree to it. But first off, if you offer me $7 million, it's August. So it would be 12. I would have to shoot it in January of 2021 if you offer me $7 million. I would start from scratch. Whatever deposit they gave me, I would hire Neil Brennan, John Mulaney, Whitney Cummings. I would hire anybody who's a great writer to just, I'd pay them, I'd pull a Chris Rock. I think Chris Rock was another thing years ago where there was no ego. He went back to his friends. That's why I love Chris Rock. He got, I think, $250,000 in advance. He gave Richard Jeni 50, Louis C.K. 50, and Nick DiPaolo 50, and said, help me with my special. Everybody show up with 15 minutes. All those specials you saw all those years that were brilliant, he had those guys. He had Jeni, DiPaolo, and Louis C.K. So if each one of them showed up with 15 minutes and Chris showed up with 22 minutes of his own material and webbed all four of those together. I still remember seeing Chris come up to the store on a Monday night and do 30 minutes with fucking Jeni, Louis C.K., and Nick DiPaolo in the audience. You know how strong that is? You know how many comics would do that? Zero. I want to have a fucking phenomenal special. Lee Syad Incorporated is giving me $1 million to shoot a special. It is going to be fucking smoking. Guess what? At the end of the special, I'm probably going to die of a heart attack. That's how good the special is going to be. I'm going to go above and fucking beyond for this. I'm going to train the right way. I'm not going to, when Netflix called me to do this special, they called in April for me to be ready in June. Right. I'm not making excuses. I'm not making any excuses. I'm the one that accepted it. I didn't think about it. And it wasn't an ego thing. It was just that I wanted to do something for Netflix. I figured, how long would it take me to write a half hour? And you see what the result is. You see what the fucking result is. So I really take my hands off to Eddie Murphy for not taking the $70 million and going, hey, who gives a fuck what they think? I'm 50-something years old. It really doesn't fucking matter. Anybody could say that. So
yeah, it's hard to put in action.
So it's very hard. So that's why those are the comics that don't have an ego. One of the guys that I really miss, I speak to him from time to time, and we spoke about him coming on the podcast. And he's been on the podcast before. I think he's called in. What was the guy that did all the prior specials? And what we've discussed that I really like.
The director.
Yeah, the director. That one that helped him write JoJo Dancer. This is Your Life is Calling and stuff. One thing I really, really like about him, one thing I really enjoyed about him was a story he told me about Pryor, that the Pryor show was kind of working, and
Rocco Orbisi,
and they were doing a lot of blow and stuff, and the suits from MB. Rocco was a young man. He had just been out of college. This was his first job in production, and that, NBC told Richard Pryor that he was, or Richard asked NBC, the two suits from NBC, you think I'm doing too much coke? And they're like, no, Mr. Pryor. You're having a great time. Keep doing what you're doing. And Rocco told him, no, I think you're doing too much coke and it's affecting your work. And he threw Rocco out and fired him. And 3 days later, he contacted him and he goes, you know what, I thought about what would happen and you were honest with me. So come back to work, and that was there. I think that Richard probably had, and that's why I always say, when you're a real motherfucker and somebody says something to you, and in your ears it sounds off color, and you might argue a little bit, and then you go home and you think about the words and you give it 3 or 4 days, and you figure out that this person that said something to you that was off color was just trying to help you. He didn't present it wrong. He didn't, I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for Matt Woods. In 1994, 95, yeah, I was getting a reputation as one of the funny open micers, and I was making headway. I was doing more time. I was also devoting myself, and I was also sticking my neck out. I was doing comedy at a weird time. I was doing comedy while I was angry and depressed, and I was broke, and comedy was the only thing that was keeping me alive. But making myself, it's like I know a girl right now that's going through a breakup. And she called me about 2 weeks ago, and I said, "Are you going through a breakup? What's the best time to get on stage?" And she's like, "Well, I don't know." What, are you fucking kidding me? Somebody dumps you, you get on stage 4 times a night. And she called this weekend and said, "Thank you. That was the best advice anybody gave me, because I learned how to do comedy from a bad place, not a good place. Anybody could go on stage when you have a job and the things are right and your rent is paid. Keep getting on stage when your love life isn't going well, or your girlfriend's sucking some fucking Armenian dick in Glendale, or, you can't pay the rent." That's what comedy is going through a hard time and getting up on stage and fighting through that hard time. Like I told you guys, February, whatever, getting off a plane and finding out Brody's dead, and I still had to go do a fucking comedy show. And I mean, deep down, you're falling apart, but you got to do a comedy show. I thanked myself that in 1995, 96, I would force myself to get on stage 94, even though I was going through hell. Anybody else would have said, "Fuck it, I can't get on stage. I'm going through something." Well, fucking go through it on stage. If you're going through something, go through it on stage. Who's a better therapist than a fucking audience? So, anyway, I appreciate you guys listening today. If you have ego problems, or if this has happened to you, you'll understand where I'm coming from. And if one of your friends ever comes up to you and says that you're getting a little bit too big for your fucking britches, before you smack him, think about where he's coming from. Think about your situation. Think about how it affects the people around you, and you'll see that you get right back to fucking square one, because ego doesn't get you anything but a losing fucking result. Today we live without the police and Pink Floyd. The world is deprived of fucking Pink Floyd, the full band, because of one fucking jerk-off. We can't hear the police because of one fucking jerk-off, And I think that's a goddamn shame. But anyway, the Church of What's Happening Now. This is how we do it here. I want to thank all the people who listen. I want to thank the people who came out to AC and motherfucking DC. It was the AC-DC weekend. It was fantastic. I had a great time. It was great seeing you guys. Real quick, the 31st of August, I'm at the Ice House, Memorial Day weekend, or Labor Day weekend, in the small room, working out with Uncle Joey. San Antonio sold out September 14th, but there's still tickets available for Dallas. February 13th, show up with the black cat and the witch hat, bitch.
February?
No, September, whatever the fuck it is. And then the last week of September, I'm at the Chicago Theater with Bob Lalingas and the fucking crew. So get your tickets now if you want to come. That's a great theater. It's got a lot of great memories in there with little Esther and Ari and Duncan and fucking Rogan. It was a great fucking show, so I'm excited to be going back there. Real quick, before we wrap it up, I want to talk to you about CBDLion.com. You're sitting there going, "Joey, I don't know what to do. People are talking about CBD. My uncle says this. My cousin says that. What do I do?" Listen, picking a reliable CBD company is like getting fucked in the fucking ass, all right? And especially now. I mean, if you go 150 yards from here, Magnolia Boulevard, I think there's 3 stores close to us that have CBD signs.
At least,
The
yeah.
dentist, blah, 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 blah. Me, I go with CBDLion.com. Why? Because when you go to CBDlion.com, they'll show you their third-party test results right there on the website. Listen, no matter how you want it, they give it to you. They make CBD products from start to finish, and you got your fucking choice. They got you covered at every level. Whether you want to vape it, whether you want cartridges, whether you want the shatter. If you're not into smoking, they got delicious raspberry and orange and strawberry gummies. And they do a fucking tincture. Like I said, start with the 500 or 1,000 milligram tincture, put it under your fucking tongue and let it go to work. Their products are fucking clean, Bobby. And they're not like these fake motherfuckers with false advertising. And listen, don't buy that shit. You might as well drink ginseng from a liquor store too, you dumb fuck. Go to CBD Lion right now. CBDlion.com and check out their third-party lab results for yourself. The church family gets 20% off at checkout. Go to CBDlion.com right now and start your CBD regimen today. You won't be fucking sorry. Number 2, the church is also brought to you by ForHims.com. ForHims is a one-stop shopping for hair loss, skin care, and sexual wellness for men. If you're having a problem getting that fucking love stick going, ForHims can help you. If you're having a problem with hair loss, ForHims can help you. I love this company because, listen, don't sweat hair loss this summer. Do something while you still got your hair, when you can still save it. Like I told you before, 66% of men lose their hair by the age of 35. Why the hell do you turn to weird solutions that do nothing when you could turn to medicine and science? ForHims.com has the answer. They have well-known generic equivalents to name brand prescriptions that help you keep your hair. Like I said, no snake oil pills, no gas station counter supplements, prescription solutions backed by science. You don't have to go nowhere either. There's no waiting room, no awkward in-person doctor visits. The guy looks you in the eye. You save hours by going to ForHims.com. It's very easy. Answer a few quick questions. A doctor will review it and prescribe you exactly what you need. Stop worrying about sunblock on your bald, thinning hair and do something to stop the hair loss today and help promote hair growth. The products also are shipped directly to your door. You don't got to go nowhere. You don't got to see nobody. Right to your door. Boom, they knock on the door. You do whatever you got to do, all right? So do me a favor. Right now, the church family gets a trial month of hymns for $5. Joey, what are you doing? $5. $5, they give you a trial month of hymns for $5 right now while supplies last. Go to the website for full details and safety information. Let me tell you something. This would cost you hundreds of dollars if you went to a doctor or a pharmacy. Uncle Joey's going to save you money. Christmas is around the corner. Go to ForHims.com/Joey. That's ForHims, ForHims. Get the pen. ForHims.com/Joey. That's ForHims.com/Joey. All right, see website for full details and safety information. Again, I want to thank ForHims. Again, I want to thank CBDlion.com. But most importantly, I want to thank you guys for the love and the support you've given Lee and I over the years. You come to the shows, you fucking jump up and down. But most importantly, you learn, you listen, and you take something away from this podcast. I'm not saying we're the best podcast or the worst podcast, but there's always a message here somewhere for you. And if not, we try to make you laugh. You know I'm a filthy motherfucker, and I like having a good time. I love you motherfuckers. I'll see you Wednesday morning or Thursday morning, tip-top Magoo, ready to go. If not, I'll see you at the end of the month at the Ice House or February 13th in Dallas. Or September. I don't even know why I keep saying February 13th. They know what the fuck I'm talking about. They know I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing in February. So don't worry about me. It's either next month or go fuck your mother. I love you cocksuckers. I'll see you Thursday morning. Stay black. Lee, kick this motherfucking mule.